evening to our invited guests and participants and listeners. On behalf of the Cricket Show USA, I thank you for joining us this evening at this election forum. The Cricket Show organization does not support any candidate in this election. Our role and participation is simply to promote cricket in the USA. Welcome to candidates and others. I know I've seen Mr. Pisike, and as I get the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, you can go by Venu, that's fine.
Well, Venu, and I have not seen any others who I recognize as a candidate yet. Debate rules for tonight will be managed by Coach Jatin Patel. And please note that questions should be general and related to the election, not to individual candidates. And after that, I'd like to once again say welcome. And I ask Venu if he would give us a quick, brief introduction. And any other candidate who comes in during that time will also be given a few minutes to introduce him or herself.
Yeah, before the Venu start, let me give you the game rules for tonight. We want to wrap up this session within an hour or maximum 90 minutes, depends on how we get the flow and questions. The most important part, I will be just moderator when it comes to the time, and I will control the people who are joining us. I see the Srini Salvar is another board member joining us. Atul Rai has confirmed the attendance later some point in the show. So those all board members will have opportunity to speak. Anyone wish to speak, raise your hand. Do not just jump in, unmute, and start talking. There is no warning. If we say somebody is doing all distractions, I will say I will ban from re-entry. So behave right. This is the professional forum. We are not attacking any director directly or indirectly. Your concerns, critiques, questions need to be directly related to what's happening or what's going on in US cricket. That's the bottom line. Your best choice is, if your question, put it under the chat so that Dannise and myself can read, and we will try to cover that because we already had more than a dozen questions came out through email and messages, and we will go with that one first, and later on, everyone should have opportunity if there is any issue or like to talk. So go ahead, Venu. Welcome to the show. And for the listeners and viewers, we have Venu Pisike. He's a board member since the USA Cricket Inception. He won the inaugural election. Then there was another election as a return. So he's going for a hat-trick actually. This is the third election and wants to be re-elected. And then we have another board member, Srini Salvar is online right now. He is a player representative individual director. I think he won the last election without contest. He's already re-elected for the second term. We have Shahid Ahmad from the Michigan. He came out first, walk away because he has a big dinner night or something because of the pre-tournament going on in Detroit. But he is coming in like 20, 25 minutes, and we will have some opportunity to speak themselves, right? And later on, if other board members come out, whoever interested or whoever care about USA cricket, we welcome everybody on this forum. So go ahead, Venu. Welcome to the show. And I will get you 3 minutes to talk about you and your interest with the vision and agenda if you win this election.
Sure. Thank you, Jatin. First of all, I want to thank both Mr. Dannise and Jatin, you both, for coordinating this effort and creating a forum platform where the candidates can express their views and opinions, and the members can actually directly interact with the members, the candidates, and learn about both or multiple whoever is joining. Their vision and understand better. This gives an opportunity for both. Thank you for that. With that, good evening, everyone. My name is Venu Pisike, and I'm currently a USA Cricket Director. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. By profession, I'm an IT in the IT field, and I run a IT services company from Atlanta. And cricket is my passion, my love, and I've been playing for the past almost 45 years. Ever since I came to this great country, one of the great things I enjoyed is playing cricket, apart from doing many other things, work and family, friends. So cricket always gives me pleasure, and enjoying playing the game, and also making friends, and being the loving the sport that I cherish for all along. So I have involved in Atlanta cricket for many years, almost 17 years now. I was fortunate to be the initiator for one of the leagues here, which started in 2007. That actually started my passion towards apart from playing and supporting, volunteering, also becoming an administrator. So that success and that the involvement actually motivated me to involve in many other activities, including youth development and the league management. So when the USA Cricket was formed in 2018, so I really liked the idea of new organization coming in place, and giving an opportunity for the administrators or the leaders to involve and take the game, grow the game in the country. So, and with the support of all the members, I was fortunate to get elected in the initial board, and then I got re-elected in 2020 because my initial term was 1-year term. And so overall, I was there in the board for 4 years. And during my term in the tenure in the board, I'm involved in many initiatives, many activities, be it the sport related or the governance related, or any other development activities. And for the past 3 years, I'm acting as the development committee chair. This committee is basically responsible for all the development activities, including junior cricket, umpire development, coach development, and many other aspects comes under this committee. But I think I can proudly say for the past few years, when we first assembled this committee, due to COVID, we could not make much progress in 2020, but we started a great initiation of appointing volunteer coordinators, because I believe the cricket can progress in the country only by involving the community and the volunteers, because there are a lot of experience out there in the community. So we started this volunteer youth coordinator program. Currently, we have 50 volunteer coordinators.
15 seconds more.
All right, thanks. Serving and promoting cricket, supporting USA Cricket. And apart from development, youth development is one area that I focus. And the hubs that are created in this year across the country is a story of success. And we also created pathways for umpires and coaches all along. I think, we're short.
So we give the 4 minutes and 30 seconds to Venu, and we will definitely give the same amount to the other candidate who is contesting this election, to be fair enough. I let it go beyond the 3 minutes for a reason, because right now he is the only candidate in this group who is going for contest. So Dannise, I'd like to give it back to you and proceed with whatever the questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Venu, the USA Cricket information says there is preferential voting system. Can you explain to us what exactly that preferential voting system means?
When you need to unmute when you speak.
Got it. Okay. So typically any election is declared a winner by having a simple majority. So the preferential election is a little different than giving, choosing one candidate. Basically, it provides the opportunity for the members to give ranking to their preference. So if there are multiple candidates in the election, they can actually give ranking based on their preference to first candidate, number one ranking to one candidate, and 2, 3, or 4. if there are 4 candidates, they can give a ranking to one person or multiple persons. So the system will receive all these rankings, and it actually will count the votes in a preferential method, where if any candidate do not receive a simple majority, which is 51% out of all the polled votes, then it will go to the preferential counting, right? So, for example, if there are 1,000 members, candidate A receives only 300 votes, so that he did not cross the simple majority. So the first round, the system will eliminate the candidate with the lowest votes. But when the system eliminates the candidate, all the second preference votes that candidate received will be transferred to the other candidates, right? So it will go on until a single candidate is receives the 50+% of votes. So that way members can choose multiple candidates, and even though their first preference may not receive, at least they can always give a preference to other candidates. That way one of the candidates will receive the preferential vote.
So in the simplest way to explain this election process is the candidate has to win outright 51% or more votes in a first attempt.
Right.
At the same time, every eligible voter has an option to vote with the first preference, second preference, and the third preference. Whether you have 2 members contesting or 5 candidates contesting, you're still allowed to vote for 1, 2, 3 option. When the candidate with the highest vote not able to make 51% barrier, the lowest percentage candidate is automatically out. Because he is out, people voted as a number 1 choice. So that goes off, and immediately after that, second priority and third priority vote goes until somebody get the 51% vote. That's how this election is.
Venu, there were approximately, as I counted it, 98,000 voting eligible members. How you're shaking your head? Does that mean that
it's 9,900 something?
It's 9,900,
and only about 2,100 voted in last election, to be specific.
Okay, I think I'll have to brush up on my mathematics. All right. Yes, Sandeep. We'll get to you later, Sandeep. So, Venu, yeah, 9,900 approximately. How do you, in a situation like that, are you able to make a pitch to members for their votes in this situation?
In my case, I think, in the past 4 years, I have connected with many, stakeholders in the community through the various USAC Cricket programs. So that way I get to know, few people in the other cities and states where I can connect with directly. So, but yeah, unfortunately, the system or the election process does not provide a forum to directly connect with the members, other than sharing a the bio or a profile along with the ballot. That's the only place where every voter can see the member information at the time of voting. But before that, I think I'm using my connections, the friends, the point of contacts from various leagues. I'm trying to reach out and asking them support, and explaining them what my vision is, what I have done for USAC Cricket for the past few years. And I think, that's the way I'm working with. So if they agree, some leagues have scheduled, the Zoom calls, the calls within their leagues and clubs. So I'm attending as many as I can, and trying to introduce myself and asking for their support.
So am I to take it then that what you're saying is you are able to send promotional material to all members of USA Cricket?
Not necessarily all the members, because there are hundreds of thousands of players, but only 10,000 members, eligible members close to, right? So not necessarily only to the members, but I am sending my message, my information to all the leagues. Within that leagues, if a league has 500 members, there may be only 100 members eligible to vote, but still I'm trying to reach out to every stakeholder.
Right. So given your years of experience on the board, was this not a matter for transparency's sake for USA Cricket and all those who are involved able to reach out by way of perhaps a community bulletin in order to advise members as to what is going on within the organization? Is this not something for transparency that should have been up and running?
I don't say it's a transparency issue, but I would say because, it's not that incumbent is provided an opportunity, whereas the new candidate is not provided an opportunity, right? That's not the issue we are talking about here. So I don't see this as a transparency issue, but I see, the system needs to evolve and provide opportunity for candidate to introduce to the entire membership ahead of the election. So I would say, maybe the process needs to be tweaked, where when the NGC announced the candidature, the final candidate list, probably they should be sending the candidate bio along with the release. That way members will know ahead of the time, not necessarily ballot time.
Thank you. I don't see any questions related to that from any members on our listeners. So let me proceed. I mean, Jatin, Sandeep seems to be
Yeah, before that, I'd like to welcome Balushu. He is also a current board member. Let him come out on board and introduce to the people, and just to say hello, and so at least the people know that we have multiple board members here in this forum.
Thank you, Jatin. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to join this debate. My name is Balushu, and I'm from Atlanta. I got on the board about 3 months back, precisely in mid-April. It's been an interesting journey so far. A lot of good initiatives are coming forth. And I know people in the community have not seen what they intend to see, but rest assured, things are falling in place. Right place, right people are there, right mindsets, and we are working collectively to keep up the promises and make sure the community is working together. So thanks for having me here. I'll be happy to jump in if need be.
Thank you, Anja. And we also have Srini Salvar on the forum. He is also a board director as a player representative. And if he's available and if he wants to speak, I'd like to have him on board. You got a few minutes to introduce yourself, Srini.
Venu, the individual director position is advertised for a 3-year term, and it specifically says for 2022 election. If elected, when will the term end?
Okay, I will give my view. So I don't know what the experts interpret from the Constitution, especially the NGC. But I don't want to make any controversy, but I'll give my view to my position, right? As per my understanding of the Constitution, any member can not serve more than 6 consecutive years or 2 consecutive terms or 6 years, right? So, but if the initial term is not a full term, that initial term would not count towards the 6th year, right? So my initial term in 2018 was 1 year. Of course, it went a little over a year before the elections commenced. So my second term, which is a full term, actually started 2020 February. So since then, from there, 6 years from 2025, so which is 2026 Feb. So even though current elections are happening in July of 2023. Technically, this is a T3. Okay, so as per my understanding, this term should end by 2026 Feb, according to the Constitution.
But
But actually, it's a 3-year term. But since if I win, it's going to end technically at 2026 February. But if some other candidate wins, they will have a 3-year full term. That's my interpretation of Constitution.
So let's suppose we have this another contestant is Shahid Ahmad from the Michigan, just joined, and looks like he might be in something, but I'm asking them to come out and we'll give him opportunity to introduce himself and talk about it for 4 minutes and 14 seconds.
So let me just return to Venu and that question. The 3-year term for 2022. So the next election in theory should be 2025. Is that not correct?
That's not correct. So again, you can interpret and I can interpret our own way, but it's important that how NGC interprets, right? So even though the election is for the 2022 position because of the term actually ended 2022 December, technically, since the election is commencing now, forget about myself, right? If I win or lose, it's not about me. For example, if a new candidate wins the election, he was told it's a 3-year term, right? So for him, it has to be a 3-year term. So that's how they, when the 2020 elections happened in 2022, and NGC has informed the candidates that it's a 3-year term, even though the election happened after a year after the actual term ended. So since they got elected in 2022, July, so they get a 3-year term from 2022 to 2025. So same thing, I'm expecting same thing will happen with this election as well.
For clarification, Venu,
mm-hmm.
I am at a loss to understand why we are in 2023 and we're performing an election for 2022. Is there a reason why this could not be automatically updated so that we are starting afresh from 2023 and going forward? Why are 2022 election in 2023?
Yeah, even, just, okay. So the reason for 2022 election did not, took, 6 months delayed. There is a history, right? It's because of the previous elections were delayed a lot, right? So 2020 election supposed to happen by end of 2020, but it actually delayed until 2022 July. So 1.5 year delay for that election. And immediately after that, the board has, initiated the 2021 election, but that also actually, instead of happening at the end of 2021, it actually happened in 2023 April. So there was a 1.5 year delay between from the 2020 elections. So we had to catch up those 2 elections before board can conduct my election. So since the 2021 election actually delayed till April, and as soon as that is concluded, NGC has started the next election cycle. So obviously it takes a couple of weeks or months to conduct the election. So that's the reason behind the delay.
If you're elected, Venu, would you be in a position to ask the board, the entire board, to simply bring all of this date up to present and go forward from there? Or are we persistently going to be looking backwards? Next year, we'll be voting for the 2023 board members. This seems somewhat of a,
Agree. So in my opinion, elections, fortunately, unfortunately, good or bad, the Constitution requires elections to certain percentage of directors every year. So that actually is a big commitment with a big responsibility to conduct election every year. But that's how the Constitution is currently. So I know even I didn't like the way the terms were, there is so much confusion. Actually, unless somebody is closely following from the beginning, someone will get confused whose term ending when, right? In fact, matter of fact, I have to document every board member so far, part of the current board or the previous board. Since I was there from the beginning, I actually documented and I gave the timelines for each director and submitted to NGC for their record, because even NGC changes, so they don't have a history. So, but to fix this, yes, I will definitely propose, I will do my best to bring the elections back to track and try to complete the elections by end of the year, every year, and adjust the terms accordingly until we catch up.
We are jumping directly to these questions coming from the people who are attending right now, and I'm reading it, and anyone needs the log, we can provide this, because looks like this came out as a direct message to me. Okay. The one question from the first name, Srini, I think, is asking question about how do you plan to promote cricket among the youngsters in US?
Srinivas, good question. But if you're following USA Cricket and its activities, we started the initiative to promote youth cricket last year. There are multiple, phases, right? You need to first introduce cricket to the younger generations so they can learn and know about cricket. And the next step would be providing them opportunities to play in the competitions, organized cricket. So in terms of, the development of cricket, fortunately, this country already have so many, stakeholders and the organizations promoting youth cricket. So there are thousands of youth cricketers already readily available. So to provide organized cricketing opportunities, we have started domestic youth age group program, competitions last year. And this year we actually, went to the next step of creating the local hubs where the local, age group cricket is owned and operated by the hubs across the country. There are currently 18 hubs. And we are hoping to expand these hubs so that way we can provide more organized cricket to youth. And but in order to grow cricket and develop more cricketers, we also have a cricket development program which we will be initiating. We already ran the couple of pilot programs, but we have to implement that full scale. Hopefully, starting next year.
Before we go on,
understand the emotions, I respect everybody's time, but as I said, it was a scheduled event. I told Mr. Jatin that I will be coming back later on, and he was gracious enough to let me do it. Basically, I came from Pakistan, 1990, and came to the Motown, Detroit, and I started my master's. And, I have been playing cricket pretty much all my life. And, immediately, landing here, started playing club cricket. We were mostly playing in Canada. We were mostly playing in Canada until in 2001, there was enough interest in Michigan that we decided to form our own league, Michigan Cricket Association, and Venkat Malia was our first chairman. And I started serving in the grounds committee. And from there, the league grew. And in 2007, I became the chairman with 7 or 8 teams. And I did serve the league as a chairman for 10 years since 2007. Now we have 3 T20 divisions, 1 F40 divisions, pretty good talent. I don't say that we are the best in the nation, but we are doing pretty good. Also, the very important thing that I see happening these days is the formation of the Michigan Youth Cricket Group. Venu is doing a great job. We have U13, U15, and there is a great interest among the parents and the kids. Nationally, I have been fairly active, trying to do my best, involved with, USAC and then ACF, and then ICC meetings. And lately I served the current administration in the finance committee with Avi Gaje, Catherine, our CEO Ian Higgins, Ram Varadarajan, and here I am now, trying to help in a little different direct capacity as the board member. So I am available to you. I understand it might be late for some folks, but if you have any question, I promise you I am here to answer your question to the best of my ability. And I want to thank Jatin and everybody who contributed to the organization of this Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Before we go on, we had another question directly to Venu about this message. It only says first name Dave. What is the definition of locals with MLC? I think he's trying to differentiate between the minor league junior cricket and USA junior cricket. Venu, it's yours.
Yeah, I think primarily the question is related to the minor league cricket, not necessarily junior cricket. There is a issue currently going on. Not the issue, but that concern questions are raised by many, including some of the board members, and we even discussed this with our partner. Is what is the definition of locals? So it is there is a gray area. So definitely that needs some attention to define. And when during our discussions a couple of months ago, we both agreed that USA Cricket will define who can be called a local versus a international player. So right now, I think for the major league there is a issue around MLC claiming some of the international players are local players because they assumed anybody having a valid visa, which is P1 visa or O1 visa, they assumed they become local. But I know the concern in the community or among the USA Cricket is that so just because somebody has a visa, can they be called local as soon as they land in the country? So that issue is there, and we are willing to address that. So unfortunately, the current year MLC draft already happened, and before we all realized. But I promise on behalf of the board, we all already noticed this, and we will define this by the next year.
I have next question from Anand Patel. I believe he's from Washington, D.C. area. I will read as he writes. Good luck to both the candidates. Question for the Shahid Bhai. How important is compliance to regulations and timelines, including the sanctioning requirements? Your thought on sanctioning tournaments, whether you are in compliance with those. I think he is asking question because we had a message sent out like Shahid Bhai is running tournament this weekend. So Shahid Bhai, it's your call to respond.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the question. To be very frank with you, when I was in the finance committee 3-4 years back, I proposed that we should have a process to sanction local tournaments. I have been running Diversity Cup annually since 2006 and without any gap. So, it was accepted, and, Diversity Cup was sanctioned not only by USAC in 2006, it was sanctioned by 2016, was sanctioned by ICC, and the ICC president also attended the event. Now, this year, unfortunately, the sanction fee is, in my opinion, is way too high. My tournament, and so I am registered with IRS. I file tax return every year. I carry a balance sheet, and if anybody is interested, I can share the balance sheet, although it's a for-profit corporation. But there is a huge red amount in the balance sheet accumulated over 18 years, So having said that, I did talk to Kuljit at length. He's a great guy, He's so good that he came to Dallas to pick me from the airport when I was there for the T10 launch. And we talked. I mean, he has his point. Hey, Shahid bhai, this is it, you got to do it. I said, Kuljit, uh, you know, uh, how is it possible that you are calling? He's saying you have 10 teams, suppose. And so, you know what? I ended up with 6 teams. So he's saying you have 10 teams, $10,000. That's 100,000. That's 10% of that. Plus sponsorship, another 10%. I said, Kuljit, boss, 100,000 is coming in as a fee. 100,000 is going back as the cash award. What money is coming to global sports? So anyway, uh, I decided that I will not go for sanctioning. And also, so you all know, global sports is a registered affiliated league with the USAC. If you read right now, go on the website, read my rights as a registered league. The league rights clearly is written that I am all allowed to use USSC logo. I am allowed to run tournaments. Trust me, you go and look at their website. So, unfortunately, I wrote back to Kuljit, this is not beneficial. It's not feasible. Unfortunately, I am going to go without the sanction. I will not use USC logo. And next year, if things work out, if teams are willing to pay all this money, by all means, my tournament is 100% financed by the community. Again, I am for compliance. I am for sanctioning. And also, please keep in mind, it has to be a two-way street. USAC cannot just come and say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you need to give me 10% of your revenue. What is USA doing in return? So, I mean, it's a great thing. It's a win-win situation. Only problem, me personally, that I could not afford it. Sorry for a long answer here.
Thank you, no problem. I have Lindroy White.
Jatin, sorry to interrupt.
Hold on one second.
Can I add something there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to clarify because I know the details around the sanctioning, right? I know people may be upset or not willing to pay the sanctioning fee or follow the guidelines, but as a cricket governing body, we have a responsibility to administer cricket in the country, and also we have to create revenue generation sources. Not necessarily will go squeeze everybody, but if anybody read the sanctioning policy, there is a fees, application fees, and there is a development fees. So the development fees is only charged if you are bringing an international player. So that fees will be directly used for the cricket development. It's clearly mentioned in the sanctioning policy because we wanted that as to be a revenue source for the development. And as far as the application fees, there are many leagues, registered leagues with USA Cricket. They can run organized cricket that is automatically approved. But any cricket, if you are generating any revenue, or if you are broadcasting, or if you are bringing international players, or if you are having USA national players participate in that tournament, that does require a sanctioning. So anybody thinking, I know it's, since we modified the policy just this year, I know there is some adjustments still need to be made. I agree. There are some gray areas, and but if anybody want to support USA Cricket, they should at least put down the application and try to explain and detail, clarify and get some information clarified for both sides, so there won't be any controversies, right? So we want to have members. Yes, we want to have cricket here in this country, but at the same time, when there is opportunity, we want to also grow cricket through the some development programs. So this is one way of sourcing that funding to the development programs. Just want to clarify. Thank you.
Can I say something? Can I say something about sanction and stuff? See, as we can tell, Diversity Cup is not sanctioned right now. Diversity Cup, what is the prize money? 100,000 is done in 1 week. Is that right? The organizer?
No. So again, I did tell you this was announced.
No. Answer the question. Is it done in like 4 or 5 days?
4 days, yes.
Okay. And is 100,000 prize money?
No.
How much is it?
Now it is down to 60,000. And if you want, I can show you the document.
But listen to me. You've been doing it for 6 years. What? Since 2006, right?
May I interrupt here, Coach?
I know this is not about the election, but since this came about, I like to put my input on it. USA Cricket is basically running with now making money from anybody. At this time, you want to bring in all these international players and spend so much money, but US Cricket must just write something and give it to you as an approval without not paying for it. You think is that fair too?
We want answer from Dev. Is it from Venu or Shahid?
Shahid.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you. Did you hear my question?
Yes, I did. No, the very, very genuine question. I appreciate your question. And, like I said, the formula for the sanctioning is $2,000 application fee, 10% of the cash award, or the overall revenue, whichever is higher. Unfortunately, that money was too much. And I asked Kuljit, okay, let's say I make $100,000. I am willing to give you 50% of the profit. Now, let's say there is loss. Are you going to share the loss with me? So, I mean, you need that. Let me finish, sir.
You need that section. I know where you're going with this. You need that approval for bringing all these international players, right? So don't you think at the same time, a lot of you guys think, oh, bringing in all these international players helping. It is helping, but how really is it helping when the franchise owner?
What do you call an international player, sir? Are you talking about Test playing nation, current player, or you are saying something
anyone
different?
Who can represent USA.
Anyone what?
Anyone who can represent USA when the tournament is over is an international player.
I disagree.
No, you can disagree, but if they can't represent USA, how can they be counted as anything else?
Boss,
okay,
in my
opinion, guys, sorry. I will turn it off this thing. This is not the discussion we want. We have nothing to do with this thing. Please stop. Let's go back to the talking about the candidate, about election and future of USA Cricket. We are not here controversial talks. You can do it on phone, one-on-one, please.
All right.
Move on, Dannise. One more question I have for...
I want to ask Shahid, since he's a candidate, what is his definition of a local player?
I understand, but you are going in a different direction. No. We are more specific to election and what candidate can do. We are not concerned about what candidate has doing it or done it. We can hear it one way. So that is fine. Coach, so going forward, we have another question, critical. I will give the both candidates. Venu first, 90 seconds to answer. And then I will ask the Shahid another 90 seconds to answer. It's coming from Charles Peterson in Minnesota. Is asking about what is the USA Cricket's position with the major league? Venu, your time.
The position is currently, Major League is owned by American Cricket Enterprise, and American Cricket Enterprise and USA Cricket has signed a term sheet to have a partnership to, for a professional league, to operate a professional league in the country. And that contract is still in the process of detailing out and, expanding for the broader, terms, which is actually taken more than anticipated time, but we have made good progress in the last few months where we have clarified some of the impending terms, but we are also agreed to resolve some of the terms which are still not clarified soon after the the current MLC season completes. So the bottom line, yes, there is a contract. Both are ACE is our commercial partner, and they have a license to operate Major League Cricket and Minor League Cricket in the country.
Okay, Ahmad.
That's good. Venu finished in 64 seconds, but Shahid, you have 90 seconds full to respond your way. What do you think about this situation? And if you win, what you will be doing it with this partnership or contract or what's happening is in US cricket?
Thank you, Jatin. I feel like one of the best things that happened to US cricket is the introduction of minor league. This provides a great opportunity to our locals as well as some foreign players to come and compete and have a serious cricket. And then obviously Major League came, which is another great thing in my opinion. However, having said that, I think it is of foremost importance that whatever leagues are running here, minor league, major league, the most beneficial partner has to be the USA Cricket. This came 4 years back. As I said, I was in the Finance Commercial Committee, and we were told, at least as a member, I was told that there is a 50-year contract. I am scratching my head. God, who will ever sign a 50-year contract? So anyway, I think minor league, major league is a great thing. USA Cricket need everything possible to grow cricket. However, I unfortunately don't know the details. That's why there is a lot of suspense. Again, these entities have to be most beneficial to USSC. And I wish that is the case. And I wish minor league and major league the best success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Coach, since Shahid was not here at the opening session, may I add the questions to him that were placed to Venu earlier?
Go ahead.
I want to make sure if you can tell us what you understand by preferential voting system as put forward by USA Cricket.
Thank you for the question. I did not know this system, to be very honest with you, until last, I don't know, 3-4 years when there was an election in USCC and there was a huge confusion. Somebody is claiming I am number one, and then they were explained the method and all that. So, I think every system, every process has their pros and cons, I have dealt with a lot of organizations in the past. They hardly use this system. So, me personally, I would like to be simple, straightforward. Obviously, USSC is the organization. They decide how to conduct the election. I would rather be doing a straightforward election. Somebody taking the majority of the votes should be the winner, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. And another question which came up was about contact with the voting members. There are quite a large number, 9,000 plus members. How do you communicate your message regarding this election to those members?
Thank you for asking this question. I'm glad you asked this, and you won't believe this, I did write to Mr. Vince, the chair of the NGSC committee. Sir, you gave me this PDF file. It has a player name, club name, and the league name. You are talking about 10,000 voters all over United States, which is, I call it a country 50 countries, nation, How do I contact them? I ask them, can you please provide me an email or a phone number? And till we speak, I have not received anything. So, yes, it is a challenge. It is the same challenge for all the other candidates. I am not the only one who is suffering. But I think, two things I will say for future, for the benefit of other contestants, that one thing, they need to be given little bit more window to campaign, especially for this position. You're talking about 10,000 voters, And also, please humbly request to provide contact info and inform the people, hey, these guys are the contestants. We are providing your number. You are member of USACC. This is an obligation. So that way we will complete the loop. That's my answer.
Thank you. And I think we reached the point where we ask Venu about the individual director position, said to be for 3-year term for 2022. If you're elected, when would your term end?
Well, 3 years from the date you mentioned,
3 years, okay. Now, so will there be an election for year 2023?
I don't know how this process works. Every organization is different. I don't know who is, finishing their term. It might be a staggered, term within the organization. I want to be frank with you. I don't know all the great details. But I do understand, like a few years back, one position was shared between the two directors. So one was for 1.5 years, another one was for the next 1.5 years. So those things, unfortunately, could happen. There was a tie vote. But I think within the current situation, I think there is a staggered. Somebody starting at certain date will be finishing on a different date than the other. But I have to accept I'm not on top of all the great detail.
There's a question from Charles Venu, and I think we touched on that earlier with Venu. And Charles Peterson asked, would Mr. Venu advocate for election term to be stable so that elections stay on schedule, do the next one in 2025? So that question would be directed to both of you. Mr. Venu, you can go first.
No, hold on. I can give you one little bit here why this question came out. We are living in US, the world of professional sport. And right now, the way it's going for last 5 years, these are a lot of uncertainties and people don't know what is exactly the election schedule is or what is the time is. Candidates are overstaying until next election and so on. Nobody knows. So this is like, I will say, we can ask this both candidate, how you will advocate this system to make it professional system, just like other sports. I'm coming from soccer and baseball. We can see December is the time. January, new board members are in. We need something, just like the fiscal year, tax year, everything has a schedule. Why not the cricket?
Right. So that's the question to both.
I'm going to go ahead first. I'll give you 2 minutes on that. And then we'll ask the Shahid to.
Okay. Thank you. So I would fix the system definitely. It needs to be streamlined and stabilized. So 2 suggestions I would make definitely. One is, yes, definitely end the term by end of December for any term, right? Fix it regardless, have the election by end of the year with all the possibilities. If in any, the second point is in any circumstances, if the election cannot happen, if it pushes out for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, regardless, the term set it to expire end of December rather than giving a 3-year term from the date of election. For example, in this election, the term is ended in December 2022, but election delayed for 6 months. And if a candidate wins now, NGC is giving them 3-year term. But instead of that, I would recommend give a 2.5-year term and end it by December so election schedule is on time. So I think, those are the two recommendations I would make.
Yeah. Thank you, Shahid, by your call. What do you advocate about this system to make it simple where everyone can understand? You got 2 minutes to talk on that.
It's a basic question. Every organization have their own sets of rules. I mean, but it is so important for any organization credibility that we follow the constitution, whatever the guidelines are in place for elections, they need to be followed. Unfortunately, here we are dealing with all kind of challenges, not only election, so many challenges, financial and this and that. So it's a simple thing. I mean, follow whatever you have. 3-year term, I think is decent, because anything less than this doesn't give anybody enough time to showcase their talent, what they can do for the organization. 5 years is way too much. Unfortunately, the way US cricket is running, we are still volunteers. And that's the biggest problem we have. So I think 3 years is a very good medium, and absolutely keep it simple. Like somebody said, follow January 1st to December 31st, 3-year terms. One thing that we might also do, which I am not sure if it is already there, is a term limit. That will allow a lot of people to get a chance. It will also allow, fresh ideas and so on and so forth. So my simple recommendation is keep it simple, make a 3-year term and maximum 2 continuous terms by any person. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with this, I will say that is, we are almost close to time. We wanted to wrap up in 90 minutes. So to conclude this session, I will say we will give the opportunity to both contesting candidates to have their final say to conclude and what they want to send the message to the members, voters, as well as cricket fraternity with their vision and maybe the agenda if they win the election. So I'll let the Venu go first, and then we will finish with the Hamid Bhai.
One quick point before you give your wrap up there. In the election requirements, it says that the position would be eligible for extension, a 10-year extension. That means that the candidates who are elected would be eligible for extension. How exactly does that work? Who gives an extension and why would there be an extension? And are you both in favor of extension? Because if you have an extension, you could not have another election. So can you briefly explain that before we wrap up?
I'm not sure where do you see that extension mentioned? Even I'm not aware.
It's not there. I don't think so. I never read these things. So.
No, it's in the documents. I read that. It says that the candidates are eligible for extension of your tenure for up to 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Oh, no, that's maybe for that other candidate, which is the non-elected candidate, not on election. Elected candidate has to go through the re-election.
Okay, all right.
Right. So sorry about that confusion. Venu, go ahead and conclude now with your final thoughts and whatever wanted to say to the members.
Sure, thank you. And how much time I have for this?
Oh, just 3 minutes. Let's go this way.
Okay, good enough. Thanks. Yeah, so the one request I want to make is, I know I've been there in the board for 4+ years now, and I'm putting my hat again, not because I like to be in that position, not because I gain anything from that position. We all are passionate about this sport, and this is all voluntary service. But since I was there from the beginning, and I know the history, and I know the critical issues that currently the organization is facing, and also some of the initiatives myself I started, including the current youth programs and the grassroots development program and the umpire and coaching programs. So we want to give a shape to these programs and, streamline all that, the domestic pathways from U11 to men's seniors, women's seniors, and every age group, right? So I have a vision to to fund, create a funding source and create a uniform, transparent and fair opportunity for all the players who are willing to compete in the system. So those two things, to resolve the current critical pending issues and to create a system where the organization is self-sustained and able to serve the members with useful programs all year long without having to think whether something is going to happen or not. So I want to streamline the programs. I want to fix make the organization a sustainable organization. So since I know the history, since I know the issues, since I'm involved in resolving some of them and initiating some of them, that's a pure reason behind me running again. So as soon as I achieve, I think I'll be satisfied for staying there and being there, serving the purpose of being there during my tenure. And another request is, I know Jatin, you mentioned before the call, at the beginning of the call, even though there are 10,000 members, but only 2,000 members voted in the last election. So that is something bothering all of us. Actually, this organization can have maybe deserves to have 50,000 members, maybe 100,000 members. So we will definitely work towards that goal. But the current 10,000 members, I request everybody to participate in the election, because organization is only strengthened when the members are involved. So this organization belongs to the members who are the stakeholders of this USAC cricket. So I honestly, humbly request every member to cast their vote. Doesn't matter, if you like my vision, my ideas, myself, you can, I definitely request your support, your vote, but I definitely want you to participate and cast your vote in the election. So we want to see more participation in the election. That way, our organization can be strengthened and felt that, there is a community support and there is a community involvement. I think that will definitely boost the confidence within the board, and encourage the board to initiate more and more programs. Thank you very much, and thanks for giving me time to share my views.
Thank you, Venu. And last one speech from Shahid Ahmad. Same time.
I wanna wrap up by thanking Jatin, you in particular, and I also wanna apologize to the members who were disrespected by my absence for some time, but it was not intentional. As I said to you, I came to this country in 1990, started playing club cricket, and you won't believe this, I am still an active cricketer. I was the founding member of Michigan Cricket Association in 2001, started serving as a grounds committee head, and became chairman in 2007, and helped cricket grow up as a chairman for 10 years. In between, I constituted Big Three Cricket Challenge Cup, Diversity Cup, and most recently Champions Cup. And I am also running a 25 overs league. Along the way, there were lots of highs and lows that USA cricket has seen and perhaps is still seeing. USAC time, ACF time, now USAC time. I was always involved trying to play a positive role. If I see something right, I will say it right. If I see something wrong, I will say it wrong. There were bogus leagues at the time. I said this is bogus league, and it went so bad, ICC had to get involved, and we formed ACF only because ICC can come in. They came in, and we got new body, and they have their own challenges. I am very simple guy. My point is, things are still looking up. Lot of good things are happening. We need to contribute as positively as we can, so that Troy City, with the permission of Michigan State, last week approved $1 million for the cricket field in Troy. We have been working for this for 15 years. And again, obviously, you want to know why the hell am I running? It's very simple. My vision is, first and foremost, we need to bring the money in. And trust me, I have a great passion for raising money for charitable organizations. We have to focus on youth cricket. We have to empower our clubs, empower our leagues, and together with the help of the national body, we need to get more engaged in the youth cricket and really get to the road and bring the cricketers playing on the streets and give everybody equal opportunity to showcase their talent. Very importantly, we have to decentralize, we have to create local and regional structures and let them shine, let them be independent, let them use their own resources and do the best for USA cricket. Very important is we need to take cricket to the schools. Illinois State just last week in a historic moment, state mandated all the schools to have PEs for cricket, introduce cricket to elementary schools. And I think that's a phenomenal thing. As I said, minor league, major league, by all means, we need top-down approach, we need bottom-up approach. But USAC, US cricket benefits have to be on the forefront. Lastly, boys and brothers and sisters, this is a 501c3 charitable organization. I humbly request to myself and to everybody, we need to treat it like that. We need to keep our processes, our meetings transparent to the community. And once again, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the opportunity given to me. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. I think that sounds like a wrap up. So I'd like to. Did you have a statement, Coach Jatin?
No, we are all done. It's a thank for everybody's coming out with the time. It was the platform we created just to know about the board directors and who are contesting the elections. We wanted to see where their vision and the changes they can make for us. And as a cricket show, we love to promote this game by any way we can. We are also a non-profit organization from Florida. So go ahead, Dannise, and your final say.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope that you are able to get some information to assist you with or when you cast your vote. On behalf of the Cricket Show USA, I would like to once again wish you all a good evening and hope that you will join us again the next time we have one of these election forums. Thank you all and wish you all good night.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.